the course of this next segment. But, it's something interesting that happened to you during the off season, if you will. You resigned as the head wrestling coach to concentrate on football, and I know that had to be somewhat painful because I know you put so much time and energy into that. Can you? And I know that you're raising you got a very young family, so you're trying to juggle a lot of things. So talk about putting aside something that you really love, and maybe spending more time with the ones that are here. Your boys are here with this, the ones you really love the most.
Yeah, tough decision. A sport that has given so much to me and shaped me in a lot of ways. My boys are right in the thick of it, and I've got wonderful kids in the room, Keith down here. So very bittersweet for me. It still feels like it's the right thing, although it's not always fun or easy. It still feels like the right decision. I am going to be around it for sure, and I'll be the biggest supporter, there's no doubt, but just from a different role so I can refocus some of my priorities.
On page 362 of the Indiana Football Digest, there's an article that we did.
I didn't even see it yet, boys.
Former Northwood standout Trevor Andrews becomes the first Indiana Football Digest cover kid to become a Division I head football coach. Stevie Crow, our good friend, and there's a picture of Trevor when he was in high school right there. We got that. That was our very first magazine. That was in Northern Indiana edition only at that time. So let's talk about that. I know we've got a lot to talk about. We could probably spend 3 hours here. So let's just get caught up on how your brother's doing, and certainly you have to feel very, very excited about what he's doing at the University.
He's doing great, and the family's great, and he's at home. I mean, Northwood's home, but Dayton to him is his second home for sure. I mean, Mike Kelly, his coach there, long-time football coach, was my dad's college quarterback. And so they were buddies, and Trevor played for him, and he grew an unbelievable admiration for Mike Kelly, and that's why he got into coaching. And that's why he's at UD. That's what he always wanted to do. He's been coaching for 20-some years, an assistant coach at the college level, and this opened up, and he absolutely jumped all over it. But he's absolutely loving it. The boys and I, we're down for camp, and he's thrilled. He's excited, and they're doing some great things, and it's going to be awesome for him.
Yeah. Now, have you become the inside guy as far as recruiting for Indiana now as a head coach?
I don't know about the inside guy, but you're right. Yeah, we've seen a lot of guys mentioning a lot of people to him and a lot of folks, and that's been nice. He signed 2 really good kids out of this class that are looking really good, and it's so neat to see. The boys were looking at this in the office before we came up here, and they spotted 2 of their cousins on the back. One there is graduated from Chittard, and one there that's playing for Lawrence North. They were fired up about that. They were asking about the cover last night and who goes on that and why. How many guys Northwood's 25. Ever had? I'm naming those guys. I said, your Uncle Trevor was on there at the first magazine ever. Mr. Football runner-up from Northwood's pretty impressive.
Sure, that is. So talk to me about how fall camp went for you guys.
Well, we had good 2 weeks of it. So now really we're on in game week in that preparation in week 3. I think that we started to build and work a lot of trust factors that is so key to us this season for this particular squad. I think that we found some guys that we were hoping to find, and we realized some guys that we were counting on, maybe we can't count on them too much or as much as we hoped or thought. So that's what you try to work through, and we talk about growth. We talk about practice being some good and some bad and some indifferent, and that's what practice is. And we had one of those tonight too.
You had a couple of kids that transferred in, and that's always an interesting situation when transfers come and go and those kind of things that happen, because sometimes that upsets the apple cart and the chemistry of the family unit or the team unit. And obviously some of those kind of things happen this spring. Can you speak to how those kind of things unfolded for you?
Yeah, so sure. We had one that had a wonderful opportunity at IMG and thought it would work out for him, springboard to college and Nitarion Tuggle. And so we were happy for him and what he was able to do. And some of their admissions things fell through late. Yeah. And so was obviously looking to come back. And And so now we're trying to get him, back into the mix because he was without us and we were without him for a spring and a summer. We have one dynamic young man. You talk about guys that leave the program for one reason or another. You have guys that join the program for one reason or another, and we've had that, guys. We've had some turnover, some good and bad. One of our best players from a year ago that we were counting on to be back is not with our program anymore, but we got a new one in from Warren Central, and so that does upset the apple cart at times, and that's why we count on these guys to reel them in and bring them together.
Okay, so let's talk to some of the guys here, and before we talk to Keith and Seth respectively, I mean, you can choose a wide variety of guys to come out and represent your program, because there's people watching all over the country right now, and based upon the views that we had last night on some of the stuff, very, very good attendance and viewers out there. Why were these two young men chosen to represent the Panther program?
They embody everything that our program believes in. I get choked up when I talk about them. Great kids, students. Football's secondary. They do everything you ask and then some. I want them to hang out with my boys.
That's a great,
they're great kids.
That's a great endorsement.
But you know what? They're two of our better players too, and so that makes it special.
Let's hear for those. All right, Seth. Let's start with you. Obviously, I know for me, as a father of a set of twins and 6 kids, I understand exactly what Nate's talking about. There's nothing greater that you can do as a father is to have someone say, "Hey, do you mind hanging out with the boys?" So how does that make you feel?
That's an honor. Really coming from Coach, someone who leadership-wise I look up to, and he leads so well and just brings everyone together, and just the energy he always has, for sure. But yeah, that's something that I've always strived to be, is just a leader, a role model, someone that someone can look at and just see how I live my life, and definitely in a positive way.
Keith, how about you? Same question. I mean, Nate says, "Hey, I want you to hang out with the guys today," and that's a great thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing. I've been with the Andrews for wrestling and football, so I've known him a while. But growing up, I've come a long way, obviously, but he's always been there. He's always supported me. He's always believed in me, and that makes me feel very special. It's something that, I can really take personal, and I enjoy being around him.
I said on our Northwest Indiana show that we had the Northwood Panthers rated number 3, and I said to someone on the program, said, "Well, they may be underrated." You guys good?
Yeah.
Are you guys as good as advertised?
We tuned you in on the way up here and for the pregame, and we heard that number 3 ranking. That's very lofty. I know that there's 3 unbelievable teams in Class 4A that I think are notches ahead of everybody else right now. But at the same time, I think we have the potential to be in the mix, and it's gonna come down to our trust, and it's gonna come down to our weakest link. It's gonna come down to rallying everybody together and getting everybody to believe and buy in to what we're doing and working and pulling in the same direction.
Seth, you're playing tight end and outside linebacker. I want you to talk about the offense, first of all. Your thoughts on the offense. Is it ahead of where it needs to go? And who needs to step up?
Yeah, the offense, extremely talented all the way around, I would say. One thing that I've been really impressed with was the offensive line, actually. We lost a lot of people last year, and so we've had a lot of people step up as well. A lot of people filling those holes, and one of which actually Keith got pulled up there and never touched the offensive line in his life, and he's just thriving in it right now. So just guys just showing up every day, just going to work. Lots of talent for sure all the way around. Wonderful facilitator in Owen, and just wonderful coaches that just know how to coach so well and just teach.
All right, Keith, you're also a linebacker, offensive line, as Seth just mentioned. So let's start with the defensive question, your thoughts on the defense. And the second part of the question is, tell me about your new opportunity to play the offensive line. Coach Andrews doesn't make a bold move like that if he doesn't believe in you, right?
Yeah, for our defense, I feel I feel great about it. We had obviously we had a lot of seniors on the defense last year. We need a lot of people to step up. I think our linebacker core is young, but I believe in them. We got Kent and Chuppy, and we also got Connie Tucker stepping up here. And so I like the potential of it with Joe in the back and the safety. So I really like all around. I like the defense, the way we're going to step it up, the way we're coming together lately, especially in this team camp. And then for offensive guard, I'm playing left guard right now. Coach called me up back in June, asked me to play the offensive guard. And so I took the opportunity, made the most of it, and right now I'm starting position right now. And with me, Bryson coming in, when he asked me, it was a responsibility, but I felt special enough that he would ask me, believed in me to step up. We're never playing guard, so I think I'm glad he believed in me, and I'm making the most of it.
Well, to me, that says two things. Number one, he's really coachable, and he's going to listen to the coaches to find his way along the way to get the new position, right?
Let me tell you this story. So Keith Miller kind of grew up in our program as a wide receiver / maybe safety, not really sure where to put him. We needed a backup JV quarterback. You got to turn to somebody you can count on, you can trust. He can't hit a broadside of the barn with the football. But we put him there because we believe in him and we trust him. And then he started playing at quarterback, growing up in our program that way. Last year, hey, we need you at linebacker. He's our top returning tackler. We're at team camp. And it wasn't Coach, it wasn't Keith, we need you. We're at team camp, and I said, hey, we do need some offensive line. We need some help there. We've got this guy injured, that guy's not coming back, so on and so forth. It would be really cool if you went there today with the individual group. He said, I got it, Coach. I think Coach Eastep, our O-line coach, put him in from day one because as soon as he showed up in his group, he was so thrilled to have him there leading, and then he hasn't looked back.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a rare thing for students today.
It is, and that's exactly right. Maybe 20, 30 years ago,
sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? They're all running through a brick wall.
Yeah.
It is rare today in this day and age, what's going on and where they're at and what they see and don't see, social media, all those things. It's a rarity.
How do you keep things in check as the head coach with all the other outside distractions? And I know that I've always said that from our perspective as the Indian Football Digest, I'm asking for an hour to fill out the questionnaire, maybe a nomination form for a student here, a student there. I'm thinking to myself, I'm asking for about 3 hours a year to dedicate to us and to what we try to do to promote our game. But there's a lot of people out there who's trying to take your time all of the time. And those are things that you've got to be able, as the head coach, have got to say, listen, I got to be able to do this, I got to be able to do that. So talk about managing your time as the head coach.
Delegation, first and foremost. I'm becoming better at that. Sometimes my assistant coaches think maybe too much. But I put a lot of faith in them and a lot of trust in them. The first thing is you got to surround yourself with great people.
Sure.
And these guys will tell you. I mean, we've got the best coaching staff in the state of Indiana.
All right, Keith, I want you to tell me about this Jimtown team. They're coming up next on the program. What do you have to do to beat the Jimmies on Friday?
I think for defensive wise, it's gonna be tougher. You got to shut them down. They're trying to run down our throat. We got to stop them. We got to be hard. We got to be physical. And we got to be more conditioned. We got better shape. We just got to knock them back.
All right, Seth, I want you to talk to me about the Northern Lakes Conference. This league is absolutely brutal. Talk about getting ready to play every Friday night against a high-quality, well-coached football team.
Yes, sir. Just mentally, I think we need to step it up physically and just eliminate, especially as the year goes on, just eliminating those little mistakes and just building on that, getting stronger every week. And as we play those harder teams farther down the stretch, just bonding and just playing for each other for sure.
It's a long season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nate, in the past, the league had 2 or 3 teams that were really good, and there was a lot of gap between the rest of the league. That gap has shrunk dramatically in the last 5 to 7 years. What would you attribute that to?
Well, I mean, first thing is we added Mishawaka, so there's a no-brainer off the bat. Coach Curtis changed the culture at Warsaw, who was a sleeping giant, and everybody knew it. And then you look at the emergence of the community at Northridge. That's been the biggest deal to me. Those three, the additions of those three and the way they've changed and evolved.
How much fun are you having?
I'm having a lot of fun, and the best part about it is when my kiddos are with me, I say to them every single time, so thankful that you wanted to show up to practice with me. It usually keeps me sane. These guys will know I'm in usually a little lighter mood if they're around, and not maybe as loud, but we're having fun because of good kids like this.
Thanks for taking time. I know this means a lot to me. You and I have had conversations when I invite you up here. It's one of the highlights of my year, too. So proud of you.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Paul, and
Once
everything
again,
you do.
Nate Andrews, the head football coach of the Northwood Panthers. Make sure you get a copy of the Indiana Football Digest. You can read about his team as well as his brother's team at Dayton. We had a feature in the back of the book. So we're going to take a 60-second timeout, and we're going to come back and talk Jimtown Jimmy football with the architect of that program, Corey Stoner, right after this on Regional Radio Sports.